listening to 27 Talks Podcast. Step into the world of hair. We've got ideas and stories to share. Supporting salon culture and life. We'll provide the education. One talk at a time. You're listening to 27 Talks Podcast. With your host, Ira Pope. We'll tell you all you need to know. Let us be your inspiration. Won't you join us for the ride? One talk at a time.
This episode, Amber sits down with stylist and educator, Ira Pope Sage.
Well, hi, and welcome to this episode of 27 Talks. Today, I'm delighted to share with everyone a true innovator in craft behind the chair, an amazing artist, and a wonderful educator. Ira Pope Sage is a total powerhouse behind the chair. He's an amazing inspirer of technique and cultivating really cool educational ideas like Perspective is Key educational platform that he teaches from, utilizing concepts like clock cutting concepts and how to use fear to push yourself through those boundaries. He is totally creatively charged and excited to share how he gets charged up every day behind the chair. He's completely settled into who he is over the last couple years, creating an absolute brand that as you're scrolling through Instagram, you will stop because you know that is an Ira haircut. He is who he is behind the chair and is so excited to share all of his knowledge over 25 years and more of that expertise to get everyone creatively charged and passionately excited about the art of hairdressing. He's just a real cool dude doing real dope hair, and I couldn't be more excited to share with you all. I hope you enjoy this episode. With me, you are an amazing powerhouse behind the chair, and I cannot wait to dive in on some creative topics. But tell me a little bit about what you just got off of like teaching today. So tell us a little bit about what you were doing today.
So today I was just flying basically. Today it was all flying. But yesterday I was in Toledo, Ohio, and I taught for a salon hairstylist and did my Perspective is Key hands-on class with, they had 5 girls there I got to work with. And so I shared my clock cutting concept and my perspectives, my 25-year plus behind the chair perspective.
That's incredible. So in a nutshell, if you could describe a little bit for listeners, what is the perspective? Like, what is that in terms of education that you're bringing to our craft and our industry?
I guess I would have to say it's multiple for sure. It's definitely not a one, yeah. But because it's certainly plural. I have a lot of details into things. I jokingly call my class kind of the most basic, detailed, advanced class ever, which is quite a oxymoron, but it quite fits the weirdness of my class. But shoot, now I forgot your question. What was your question? Sorry.
I just want to hear a little bit about Perspective is Key.
Yeah, what I did there in Ohio, huh? And so the class itself more often is done here in my loft that I live at here. I teach a lot of one-on-ones or one-on-twos, and but this is the first travel since COVID and everything, so I was very excited for that this weekend. And what I taught with them was a haircut that first my clock cutting concept, and that in a quick little nutshell, basically think of like a analog clock on a wall that we actually measured time off of, which is much more valuable than money. So to say time is money is silly. So that's another perspective I try to push on to make people think differently and not just listen to what they've always said in the past and join along with it. And time is money is one of those things, but or think in the box or think outside of the box. I think you should definitely think inside the box. It's much safer. There's boundaries, there's a floor, there's walls, there's ceilings. If I didn't have this box here, I'd be homeless. And so to think in a box is so much more safe with boundaries and rules then as well. So I teach all of those different perspectives. Like my history of education with myself or on myself is mixed by a lot of different manufacturers and educators. I've never properly sat in a Sassoon class, yet I get a lot of Sassoon people here that I get to teach, which is awesome. Not educators, but a lot of Sassoon salon people, things of that manner. So, and then my great friend is DJ Muldoon. So he's basically kind of like he's my hair Google, if I will. And so I've pretty much everything I've worked out, I found that it aligns at least right around like 95% with everything Sassoon. There's some things that I don't necessarily agree with, and I have a little purpose and reason why. Say that concave convex, they only think of that as being more of a shape. So it's only from 12 to 6 in my world, from front to back. I look at it also to be from 3 to 9 and 12 to 6. So it can go concave, of course, opposing the head shape, where convex follows the head shape. But that's another thing too, right there away. I like to make people's head blow. A lot of people don't realize this weekend I made a good way of pointing it across is that, and I asked them if they understood what concave and convex was. I just found out through DJ finally 2 years ago, I think 2 or 3 years ago was when I finally clicked in when he said it, and it finally like registered, made sense to me as far as in convex follows the head shape and concave opposes the head shape. And so therefore concave flips. And the thing that's frustrating with me, I'm a very literal thinker and very literal in general. So every educator, every person, when they said, think of concave, just think cave in, cave in. And I only hear the word in. And it's only one part in, 2 parts out. So it flips out either way, basically, whether it's front or back, or side to side, but blah, blah, blah. That's the kind of stuff that I get stoked about and excited about.
It's so awesome though to have such like this aha moment though. I mean, gosh, you know, when we've been behind the chair for so many years and it just takes one little like light bulb switch and you're like, oh, and then it does, and the thinking is completely changed, or that it's so
Perspective change. Yeah, it's awesome. It's really cool. Yeah.
Well, I hone in on the statement that you said about it's much safer in the box. And what I find so lovely about that is I love the rules. I love being able to have the boundaries. But what I will give you surprisingly like props for with you saying inside the box and with the boundaries, but what you do behind the chair and what you're capable of creating is so fearless to me from the outside perspective.
Yeah, for sure, from the outside.
Right? And so like in what you do is so, you know, technically, and I don't want to say like rigid or anything like that, but it's so structured in a way, but like it looks like you are renegading it on the like from the outside finished product. It is effortless. It is punk rock. It is fearless. It is sick. And every time I look at those images, I'm just like, brain is blown. And I'm like, I want to know the nuts and bolts of how he did that. And it's so kudos to you. But I really want to talk about what looks to be so fearless. How do you step into that moment of being like, yeah, I'm just going to like, it looks like you're throwing whatever on the wall and see what it sticks, but that's totally not what's happening.
In some situations it is that. In some situations it certainly is that, because as you explore, you may turn and realize, okay, that's not the best turn. And so maybe I need to make another turn. So sometimes it is throwing it out there and just seeing. And sometimes it's chasing something either I saw on Instagram. Sometimes it's chasing something I saw in my head. See that my girl, or not my girl, but one of my favorite models I ever got to work with, Emerald, the one that I put the scissored part in the center. I don't know if you saw that or not, little pixie crop, and I put that in there. That one I didn't normally ask her about any other lines I put on her head. I never asked. And I've never asked about anything, but that I saw in my head about 6-8 months ago. And I've been seeing it, I've been wanting to do it. And so I was like, it's right there. It's a little bit aggressive. Let me just ask just to make sure. So I still asked. She's like, oh yeah, sure, whatever.
So, how is it for you? Like you were talking about, we can kind of pick up again, we were talking about getting creatively charged and then finding that like fearlessness behind the chair to create something that you're just really motivated to do. I'd love to hear a little bit more about some of those moments that have happened for you, or is it just a feeling, or share with us how that comes.
I mean, it's a mixture of a feeling that starts within myself, that I do desire to be my own brand. I guess I do desire to be, I know inside I know I'm already my own brand, so I know it's very easy just to continue just to be myself. And the great thing, the older I'm getting, the more and more I'm even settling into myself, so the more I can release of myself, which is pretty awesome. And as you mentioned the word fear, I dealt with so much fear in so many things, but yet at the same point, I have so much curiosity and so much excitement in living in fear sometimes. So it can definitely motivate me, and I love to chase and destroy my fears. So for me, it's like I have to go through and push myself and try to do something that I've not done before, try to do something that maybe no one's done before if I can. I mean, it's hard to necessarily do something that no one's done, but you know what I'm saying? At least something that I've never seen anyone do. Yeah, and then fortunately, the humans and the people that I get to work with, they inspire me a lot, because of the fact that I want to make sure I don't necessarily go off of suitability, of a classic suitability. I don't play off the face numbers and all that kind of stuff too much. That's maybe, I would say that's maybe my third or fourth thing that I might focus on. I'm more so trying to find their personality on the inside. I think the more I can put their personality in on the inside to the outside, that's all the better I'm going to be, because I'm not concerned about these things. I'm more concerned about these things and making their smile happen, and making them hopefully feel empowered into themselves and love themselves even more. I'd rather them be like more like Kanye West more than Kanye depressed. So that's what I'm always chasing after. And sometimes I realize, especially nowadays, which is really cool, not everyone's trying to be pretty. Not everyone desires to be pretty. Some people just want to be cool. And cool isn't always pretty. So I'm definitely fine with working with cool, for sure.
I love it. I love it. You truly put walking art on people's the hair heads and their accessory that they wear every day, and it's clear and evident through what you share with the rest of us that get to see it on your social platforms. But truly, I mean, I can only imagine how, like, the people coming out of your chair have got to feel that they are so empowered, and it's truly, it's infectiously captivating. It really,
Very nice, thank you.
so it really,
It's really fun right now with the masks, because you see so much more in their eyes of the excitement. So in some situations, you would think that you could see less of their face expressions, but you see, at least for myself, I'm such an eye person. I see so much more like truth in their eyes then. So it's really kind of fun to see that happen there.
it's interesting how I think the clients in the chair are really expressing more with their eyes, like, right? We're just like trying to emote more. And I can see that in my clients too, when they really do light up, and you're so fixated on that. And you're right. Normally we're looking at like, okay, is that fringe gonna,
so many things.
yeah, like what is that doing? And I know it's not always about suitability, sure, but like you had mentioned, but truly we get the distraction of so much of the face. And so just their eyes and really connecting, there's something really, really powerful about that.
Yeah. I mean, you get more, I feel more true indicators, especially when I'm going through a consultation. I get much more indicator of if I say pushing to this aggressiveness or staying a little bit more soft. I look at it as being more like electric music or more acoustic. You know, I can kind of feel through my conversation, especially with their eyes, then read and get much more indicators off of that, I think.
It's interesting, the workarounds that we've all been kind of experiencing. Obviously this year has been so intense, but it's just one other thing that we persevere through, and you find is that, you know what, it's not so bad. We keep getting to make art every day, and that's freaking awesome, right?
It is. There we go. A little more light on my forehead.
So also, you did touch a little bit on like you as a brand and who you are. You are truly a brand. I think that like as I'm scrolling through on social, like I always stop and I'm like, I know who cut that hair. I know who did that look. I know. And how has that, I mean, you've had so many years behind the chair, but has it just been this like steady uptick of finding your own voice, or was there something that just like lit it off and was really pivotal in changing the direction for your aesthetic?
It's been a constant build, I would say. I was very fortunate. I worked with Robert Cromings and traveled with Robert Cromings' salon team from 2000 until, well, I worked with him from 99, but traveled with the team from 2000 until like 2012. So that was quite an interesting experience for sure. So I got to build myself in a kind of a quick and slow way. The first time I got to cut hair on stage was in front of 3,500 people on a main stage back at the city that I just met Robert at the year before. So back at my hometown, a year later, I got to cut hair in front of 3,500 of my peers that I sat in the audience with the year before. So that was very crazy.
Mind blowing. That's totally mind blowing.
Yeah, it was insane. It was very much insane. And I was doing a haircut that I called shingles. And it's basically, imagine taking your scissor or taking a section of hair, coming it down here and keep it at a very, I call it below noon now, but keep it at like a line level, cut a line. And so then it's not a hole, there's just a layer or a one length little bob on top of it, and then go next to it here a little bit lower, and then in front of it, then a little bit lower. So you do like 3 panels. So you keep going back and forth. Today it would be considered more like pixelated,
right?
Like a pixelated haircut. And so you could imagine you should do that with very steady hands. Instead, I was shaking so hard. I was so full of fear and anxiety. And it was funny because at that time there was Stephanie Kochalski, Robert Cromings, and Takashi Kitamura on the front line cutting hair, and then Danny and myself in the back line as assistants. But I was cutting my own haircut because Robert gave me the opportunity the night before. He said, if you find a model, you can cut hair from main stage. So that was one thing that was always really awesome about Robert, is he definitely threw some bones here and there. It was really cool. So then, Takashi said us cut in the back line, and we always had hair cutters in the front, and he was my best friend at the time. So he pulled his chair across and pulled me right up front. And then there I was in the big marquees, shaking so hard because there's big giant marquees. There's a big auditorium place. And Robert looked over at me and said, oh my gosh, look at him. He's the real Slim Shaky. And it made me feel a whole much more comfortable because he mocked me, and I came from a family of mockery, basically. So that started allowing me to settle. But then the beautiful thing was that he then said to the audience, look at this kid shake. But truly, if any of you out there in the audience were cutting hair for the first time on stage in front of 3,500 people, just like he is, wouldn't you be shaking just like him? And the amazing thing was, just like that, I had a connective, like eye to eye with the people. I wasn't the fancy platform artist on stage. I was the kid of the people, basically. It wasn't, it was such a much more comfortable position for me. And it's been my mindset the whole time. I will never have a position where I feel like, just even last night, it was interesting. I was in my hotel last night, and I took a look at the last video I just put on my IGTV, and then as soon as it got done, it just went to the next one. And I was like, all right, cool, let me just watch it. And because the song was pretty good. And then I watched, and then it went to the next one. And I ended up spending probably about 20 minutes, I think, 20, maybe 30 minutes, all by myself, watching my own IGTV just in a row as it went. And I really enjoyed it, honestly. And I was like, I almost started, I did cry a little bit later, because I was like, if I didn't know me, I would be one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And that was a mega thing to me in my brain and my heart to really I like me. And that's a big thing for me. So, because I've had a lot of times in my life where I didn't. So it was pretty awesome to have that feeling, for sure.
That's incredible. That's an incredible story. And I think for so many of us who put so much of like who we are behind the chair in terms of like this sort of, I know for myself, I try to create art, and the second I do it, I want to break it, smash it, beat myself down about it, wish I could have done it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, everything.
Myself for it the next day. And there's something that is truly calming and comfortable when you can have a little bit of like, yeah, I did that. Pat yourself on the back.
Yeah,
So many stylists don't do that. You just don't.
Yeah. And I have to in at least little ways regularly.
Yeah.
I constantly have to. I mean, I set myself up for little pats on my back with every little thing I do just to keep myself positive. Otherwise, I'm a very natural positive person, but in that positive, as I'm a Pisces, it kind of goes both ways kind of thing. And just like that, I can be into the depressed state again. And I'm very, very, very hard on myself. It was a very nice feeling last night, and I'm really enjoying being myself over the last couple of years, feeling that I've really come to a great place. I'm not wasting time with other things I used to waste my mind with.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Seriously, I think a lot of people can listen to that, and that should sink in a little bit for
I hope so.
as well. I truly believe that.
It's from my heart. It's very genuine. I almost cried again. That was a close one.
I think that's what makes what you do so special too, is that it is authentically you. And we've been kind of like, if you want to say like social media acquaintances for a while, and like giving each other attaboys back and forth for a few years now. But this is our first conversation actually, like, not via DM or
we're meeting each other today. Yes.
But you truly, and then from like videos or anything other than just like what you put out there in like a snippet of you cutting hair, or what you create on a model or a client, whatever that might be, or how it's a photo of you teaching, you are authentically you. And I think that is something to completely celebrate. So
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing that with our industry. I think that what you're doing is exciting to watch. It truly, truly is, but it's inspirational to getting a chance to talk to you in this manner. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you for sharing your heart too.
I appreciate it. Right back at you.
What is the next step for you as we're kind of like winding down?
I'm so excited for it. You have no clue. Today I just finished on the flight here. I purposely got wireless so I could sort business that I wanted to get finished. And so just before I left, my new Apple desktop came. And so then on the flight here, I ordered my little deck that we'll have so I can, my black magic deck, so that I can switch between the cameras. So I can have multiple cameras. I bought 2 cameras, and I got the mics coming and everything. So I'm having a virtual studio all prepared in here before 2021. So,
yes!
And my goal was to make it 2021 by then, but technically my very first virtual one-on-one will be next Wednesday already. So I've already got someone lined up before I had it quite finished, because I knew I was going to be coming up a little bit because of a class. So I thought, I'm just going to put that immediately right into, invest it into myself, and not even to myself, but invest it into the opportunity for all of us really in this learning opportunity, because I have so many people off social media that are in other countries and they want to learn from me, but obviously they're not able to come to America right now or anything like that manner. So it's very uncomfortable for me to constantly say, I'm sorry, I'm working on that. I don't have it yet. I'm sorry, no. That's very embarrassing to me. So I'm very, very excited that I will finally have my own virtual education available very soon.
That's so exciting. So this is amazing. I'm so excited to hear this. So what's the method though? Like, is it too soon to say how
method in what I'll be teaching, or the process? What do you mean by method?
People can get the education from you. Is it just through social?
It'll be set up through social / Eventbrite. So I'll post things through Eventbrite, so they can go ahead and set it up through Eventbrite. And through social. So it'll be a lot of, I have so many screenshots. I try to be very organized, even though I'm not always, but I very much thrive to be. Again, I'm a Pisces, so it's not natural. So what I do to try to keep myself organized is anytime someone's asked me about virtual education, I screenshot it and then I put it into a category in my photos, a folder on my photos under virtual education prospects, basically, interest.
Awesome.
That's
That's
what it's of
so
interest.
awesome. So if anyone's wanting, then they can just stalk you on the
Please
socials.
and thank you. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yep.
yes, yes. Well, I'm stoked. I'm stoked to see how this all turns out. It's going to be amazing.
Me too.
First of
Me
all.
too. I'm so excited for it.
But truly, the innovation and a lot of the talks that I've been able to do with other people in the industry, we delve into that, like what's next because of the environment that we're all like confined by, but having to persevere through. This is yet another fantastic example about how artistry does not die. It does not go away. We're still so motivated to keep sharing in the craft, sharing the industry, and finding really solid workarounds to make it happen. And so, yet again, my friend, you're showing up to the party, and we're gonna like make this next year is gonna be even better because of all of the good that we're putting out there. So, thank you to that.
And as you say, sharing, I have to give my best buddy DJ respect on this too, because I went to see him last month with complete intentions. So that way I knew, I mean, we hadn't seen each other in a long time. So it was so nice to finally get to see each other and just laugh. And then I knew he was going to be doing some of his virtual classes. So I wanted to see his whole arrangement and setup. So, and he was awesome to show me basically how he set it all up. And then I was able to take pictures of everything, videos of everything. So I know how to set my own stuff up very easy. So, and this is a great, I mean, it's the time for virtual. If by all means, if we weren't pushed by it, by quarantine, I don't know how else we're going to get the push. So definitely the timing of it, like if we, you know, hopefully not, but if we have any form of, you know, lockdown scenario, I will be prepared now. And to have opportunity to hopefully have people maximize their time and allow them to educate themselves a little bit and see different perspective, as opposed to being depressed in quarantine or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, really, that's, I keep sharing too, how this whole thing, even with me doing kind of these sit down talks like this, came to be just because, like you said, it was shut down and I was depressed. I felt so alienated from my industry, alienated from my friends in the business. And I sat down with Ben Coe, the first to talk, and was like,
That's a good guy.
Okay, let's just drink a glass of wine together and see what happens. And it felt so, it was not as good as being in the same room, just like when you got to see DJ, you know,
for sure.
but it's like the next best thing. I think that connectivity for our industry it's something we crave. It's something that we need. The sharing that we give to one another and the directions that we continue to push forward this business and education and behind the chair and whatever it is that, whether it's an independent contractor, a salon, or, you know, someone, a cosmetology student, like we all are elevating each other in the hardest of times. And sometimes that pressure cooker makes damn good things come out of it.
Yep, I agree fully. I mean, I know as soon as like day one of quarantine happened, immediately I started to rack my brain and try to figure out, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I can't just sit here. I can't go mental. I can't go depressed. I can't get nutty. And how can I help myself and help my girlfriend and help others? And that's where the love stories came up, basically. So that was kind of fun to try to at least focus again on positive immune building factors and still bringing couples together, my girlfriend and I together, create relationships. So still being able to make kind of day-to-day new friends without being out and about. So you don't feel so secluded, I guess.
It's really easy, especially for those of us who want to create and are so tactile every day behind the chair, touching, feeling, you know, creating what we do. It's the second that that's gone, you know, I mean, I don't think I ever cut my kids' hair so much as I did in quarantine.
Right. How about when you first went back to the salon and the first time you heard thank you from someone else? I almost cried because it had been so long since I mean, my girlfriend says thank you to me for things, but it's not quite the same feeling as it is because it's not the same giving. Do you know what I mean? There's a certain different give in a haircut and it's a certain different relationship, and to have them be so, again, so thankful and so empowered, like that was, oh, I missed so many different things of perspectives that's like, oh my gosh, I miss this so much. I miss this so much. That it's been really awesome to experience those misses, I guess. I'm really, really grateful for them.
And that's, we hear it from other, artists and educators, like that component that you just said is what makes us essential. We are essential for people's lives. We really, now, they could maybe not cut their hair for a whole year, but the second you get back in the chair, it's like, oh my gosh, thank you. And that gratitude is amazing. It really is amazing. Why I do what I do.
Right. It feeds you much.
Well, I have a couple fun questions that I would like to throw your way if you're game for it.
Always.
Okay. So here we go.
As long as you're game for my response.
Always. I'm so excited for your response. I wrote these today and I was like, this is going to be fun. I'm excited about this. Okay, so we'll start with, if not hair, then what would you be doing?
If not hair, what would I be? Currently, if I wasn't in hair, I would love to have like a plant store. I'm so addicted and obsessed with my plants. And I realized the other day I was in the salon and I had given Vicky, my owner, a moisture meter. And I showed her how to use it. And I had like 40 minutes between clients. And so I went through and spent that 40 minutes just watering all the plants in the salon. And as I was walking back and forth, all of a sudden I just like thinking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I am just as happy in the salon right now, walking back and forth, giving water to plants as I've ever been cutting any head of hair in here. Like it fulfilled me. It made me feel so happy. And I just smile. Like I don't really just smile cutting hair ever. That would be a little bit weird, I think. I don't think I've had moments where I just smile. I've smiled inside many times, but I've never smiled on the outside that I can recall. But plants, like they constantly bring such happiness and such smiles to my face. So right now, I'd probably go that direction. Before I would say, if I had the abilities, it would be something with music, something still artistic for sure. Something with music. Yeah, that would be probably the direction. Or I'd love to be maybe a comedian if I could. A comedian or let's see, that's probably about it, I think. Yeah.
Great solid backups, but I think you're in the right lane.
I am very happy with my lane currently. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that.
What's your favorite tool that you can't live without?
Definitely scissor.
Yeah. Is there like one specific?
I mean, I've out of respect right now for the last 2 years right now, I've pretty much exclusively used my shark fin monarch scissor. So thank you, Shark Fin, for that. We've created a relationship and they've been very nice to me and the scissor's been very nice to me. I was before that Hikari New Cosmo for like 20 years of my career. Hikari New Cosmo was the only scissor I ever used, which is very, very different than the shark fin, minus one specific thing. It had that nylon thing on the inside, so it's not just metal on metal. And that little thing makes it's so smooth. So that thing made it still feel like my Hikari Cosmo. So I liked the shark fin then in that manner.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, y'all, you have to have your shears to do what you do. That's for sure. So,
for sure.
What's your favorite iconic celebrity haircut of like any decade, any time frame, but like iconic hair?
I'm gonna go with Keith Richards actually. In some of the images, like his look was just so cool. I mean, so rock star, so grimy, just fuck off kind of cool look that is just a vibe all in itself that I always love that look, really. Male or female, when it comes down to it. You put that look on a girl and it's so hot. I'm not really gender when it comes to haircuts, really. So that to me, that specific look is a vibe that I really, really like. I always have liked.
Yeah, you could swing Joan in that. You could swing Pete
Yeah.
in that. I mean, yeah.
Yep.
So
So many people. Yep.
that's awesome.
Yep. Or
I
Liam Gallagher, always just cool too. His hair's always just like put well together.
it was funny. I was watching, not to sidetrack from your questions, but I was watching this old like 90s movie with Cameron Diaz and Ewan McGregor, and it's A Life Less Ordinary. Have you ever watched this film?
I think so, but I have a really bad movie memory.
He definitely has this like, it's kind of polished. Ewan's hair is kind of polished, bold out in the front, stepped up, nice line, and then long and tapered in the back. And all the whole time watching it, now I mean watching it before I did hair, you know, it was the 90s and it just was what it was. But now looking back at it, I'm like, I just want to get some like texture paste in there and shake it all up. And like, he would be stage ready for sure.
Right? I mean, Grace Jones, I see in my head though too, that iconic flat top.
Yeah.
Such incredible strong shape on that. Like I've been really attracted to shape since a very young kid. Shape was one of the early things that just really attracted my eye. So something like that. I'm drawing Karen O from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. Like she's one of my biggest ones all the time. Yolandi Visser with her mullet, just the extremity in that to me is just, again, it's just so grimy and so against the norm, and yet so quality done. That's to me, I love that kind of stuff. I prefer it to look, and no disrespect to Hot Topic or anyone that's into Hot Topic, but I prefer things that look hopefully a little bit more Dolce Gabbana.
Yeah.
To where it does have, as you mentioned, the word craft and things of that manner. So hopefully still an older person would still look at it and have like respect for it.
Yeah.
And or I can still put some of my things on older people and they can still wear it because it still has like a taste level that's not cheap, I guess. I hate saying that word, but I hope you understand.
And it's elevated for sure. Yeah. And there's technique that's involved in it. But then
For
it
sure.
still looks, like you said, a little grimy, a little effortless, or that the shape set in there and spot on. What's the last thing that you've rocked out to and you cranked it to 11?
I rocked out to, I didn't listen to, I actually didn't listen to music too much because my headphones were down. So I didn't listen on the way home, but what did I listen to just on, lately I've been listening to a lot of Fisher. Just incredible DJ. And that's been kind of my excitement and vibe right now. I love Polo and Pan a lot. LCD Sound System is my all-time favorite band. All of them of which is a little bit more, upbeat and kind of I have disco balls all over my house, and I also have a exploding disco ball tattooed on my chest that says "Dance Yourself Clean," which all comes from LCD Sound System. So big love for LCD Sound System for sure.
That's awesome. You definitely want to get that volume high up there for sure.
Yes, for sure. Exactly. Yes, their movements are incredible.
Yes. What's the best thing about being in Vegas?
The best thing about being in Vegas is I got to meet my girlfriend here. That would be the first best thing I could think of. The next best thing is the weather minus. I love you too, baby. The weather minus minus the wind. Even though I'm trying to change my mindset, I'm trying to because the wind has always been my most annoying thing about Vegas. I'm not bothered with the heat at all. I kind of got way over that early because I know it's such a mind over matter thing. So I sorted that. So I'm trying to practice convincing myself that I enjoy wind. And so I'm trying to look at the fact that I see the leaves start dancing and the trees are like shaking and having fun and everything like that. So I'm trying to switch my brain set and switch my perspective with that. So that way I can kind of appreciate the wind somehow.
Yeah. I'm right there with you because the wind bothers me so much, and I'm in Phoenix, and so we're quite hot too. But
and much less wind than we have though.
You guys do.
Yeah. And again, since I'm from Michigan, I'm not used to so much sunlight, and to have so much sunlight is I absolutely love the sun, and I absolutely love the moon. The fact that I get to see the moon every night so often. I remember when I first moved here, I was like, oh my gosh, there's more full moons than I've ever seen my whole life, like in the first 6 months. I'm like, this is crazy.
Wide open skies. You see
Yeah, it's awesome. In Vegas or in Michigan, it was always where I was located. There was always a lake effect. So there's clouds. It was very gray most of my life, truly, until like 23 when I moved out here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yep. Vegas is a cool place. And yes, at least the weather it's not too bad. The heat's all right. I'm with you. It
Yeah.
doesn't bug me. It just doesn't.
And I guess I love the fact that, if I may say one more thing, I love that Vegas is accepting of, like in Vegas, anyone can dress however they want.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So you could wear a suit person, you could wear a tuxedo person, you could be a total dirtbag, and you're still like accepted all the same, or a super hippie or whatever, or you know what I mean, any of those kind of things, and you're not really judged upon.
Nope.
So I like that.
Everything is fair game in Vegas. That's the first.
Yep.
How approximately, if you had to average, about how many combs do you think you own?
How many combs? I didn't used to always be a comb person, but once I did get into some of the more like fancy hair cutter combs, they are very addicting, and I don't want to be without. So I would probably say, I don't know, maybe I have more combs than scissors, that's for sure. I'd probably say about 30.
Yeah.
In that area.
Fair amount of combs.
Yeah, I don't keep them all on me, but I would have 30 between like my home here and my scissor stuff and my bag. Yeah, I'd say about 30.
I like the random hairdresser questions, so you know.
yeah, it is a good one. Yep.
All right.
What's your comb of choice?
Oh, I use the Bowie combs, and then
Okay.
and then
Like the red one or the blue one?
the blue.
Okay.
The 407.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I do like the YS Park combs as well.
Gotcha.
Few of those.
I'm a Sessibon guy for the most part. I like some of the YS Park, but they were a little bit I don't know, too rigid or sharp for me.
They are very rigid.
And I don't personally, I've never felt much of a need for that gap. It doesn't fit my mind, I guess.
I'll be honest now, the gap, and no disrespect to YS Park, because I mean what they do.
Everyone loves them, so there's obviously
that tooth, you know, like that one tooth. It with the masks, it hooks that back
over and over and over again. It must,
like almost yanking someone's mask off.
Yeah. Yep.
We need to have some more workarounds with the mask ear loops. I've been putting perm rod papers on people, or like the bungee.
Get these. These are very friendly.
Oh yes.
So there's these, and then let me get one more thing. I think I saw
So it's like an elastic with two things on it.
These are great as well. These are almost the best for like salon stuff.
Okay.
So you just you hook them on right here.
Okay, perfect. Oh, like
and then they go
eyeglass.
Yeah, basically. And so it just sits right on their neckline. Just a little neck thing up here. Yeah, so these are very nice and not bothersome. And or someone sent me, which was very nice. I'm ashamed I can't remember the name of the people that sent them to me, but the stringless masks.
The sticky ones, yes?
Yeah, yep. They sent me a bunch of different stringless ones, which are very friendly, truly.
How are those? Do they really kind of hook on and stay on okay? Are they?
I mean, for the most part, but the interesting thing is that they can go on and off pretty easily, is the thing too. The video I just put on, I guess my second to last video I put onto the IGTV, the one that I did for the Elevate TV thing, you could see the girls wear the masks. And at one point, one of Amber's actually model popped off, the mask, her mop popped off for a second, but she put it right back on, no problem. So it's interesting, like they seem to stick just fine. Yeah.
That's great. I hadn't got my hands on one yet, so it's good to know that works. And thanks for the tips. I love that.
My pleasure.
So the last question I have of our 7 pop-ups is, what is one thing, you sort of touched on a few things already, but what is one thing that really has just inspired you today?
Let's see. Today. I'm just trying to think about my day in general. You know, I'm going to go with Jim, who was Jim and Chris were the salon owners from Hair Chaos. And Chris is the woman that contacted me to get everything set up. She's the woman that's amongst the salon, and then she wasn't feeling well this weekend. She was able to meet with him at the airport to pick me up, but then she ended up not feeling well yesterday and today still. It was just him and I in the car, and to hear her multiple times say about he's her rock, don't worry, he'll have me taken care of, and this and that. And then to hear him talk about they've known each other since like sophomores in high school, and they've just been in love ever since. And here they are, like 60 some years old, and they're just so in love with each other. And everything that he was saying about her was so beautiful. That was extremely inspiring. I thanked him for it this morning too, because sadly enough, we don't always get to see very, in general in life, you don't get to see people that you can tell that there's a real genuine, sincere love amongst them. They're not forcing anything. And to see that is very beautiful. And then it's on both sides so nice like that. To see that balance isn't always there either, because generally there's like one person who's the chaser and the other person that's being chased kind of thing. But with them, it really seemed very beautiful, that it was very balanced. And he was such a nice person in our conversations. Like, we shared music interests back and forth. Like, and I would never just look at him right offhand and think this, but then all of a sudden I realized he had a Harley Davidson jacket on. So I was like, all right, he's got a Harley on. So then we started talking about this and that. And the next guy I know, it's like, oh, he used to play in a band and this and that. Because he had heard me in the class say that music was my first love. And then, so then he started asking me stuff about music, and then find out that, yeah, he used to play in a band and everything. So it's, those little inside things like that, I guess, are very inspiring, just to see their face perk up again, just with their eyes, but just seeing and hearing his voice, like, and then trying to inspire him. I tagged him over the most Liam Gallagher record or album, either way, just to try to like inspire him, because he got a studio and everything right now, but he hasn't been filming, he hasn't been recording music. So I'm like, oh, you got to get in there, man. So try to amp him up a little bit. So he inspired me a lot.
Well, I think connectivity, we're reminded during this time that connectivity is totally everything, and that
it really, really is
inspired. And if you mix a little bit of magic fairy dust of love and partnership, that's the cherry on top too. So
yep, I'm a big fan of love, so those things always inspire me.
I'm with you there on that one. I am. Oh, I'm so glad. I love that we got a chance to sit down and share and talk about, the industry that I know you really care about, and I really care a whole hell of a lot about it. And it's really fun to see it, not to, steal your coin, but your perspective on things, I think
you're good. Please do all you'd like.
I really appreciate you sharing, and I really appreciate you just giving the rest of us, on social, a daily little glimpse of your craft, and it's incredible. So,
I appreciate it
so much. Thanks for
totally my pleasure. Anytime.
Well, thank you. I'll talk to you soon, I promise.
Thank you to everyone out there as well for watching. Talk to you then, girl.